Welcome back to the Biohacks Podcast. Today we are joined by a very, very special guest. We're joined by Giacomo Farci, a good friend of mine. He's a celebrity trainer, and we're going to be finding out how you can achieve peak optimal health and peak performance from somebody who's been there and done it with the best. So, Giacomo, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hi, Simon.
Normally when guys come on, we normally get them to give us a bit of a background about themselves and how you got into your line of work. So if you could give us a bit of a rundown, that'd be great.
I'm Italian. Sorry for my accent. I hope everybody can understand me.
I apologize.
I was born in Sardinia, and I've always been interested in sports since I was little. I found myself playing different sports, from football to basketball to martial arts, but more than competing in, especially football and basketball, I was more interested on training my friends. I was always trying to understand how can I help them to improve their performance, or to reduce their injuries. So performance was more interesting for me than competing. I've been competing. I used to love competing more in martial arts, where I won Italian championships. I competed at European level. And so I experimented different type of diets back in the late 90s, early 2000s, or training with wearing plastic bags, old school.
You were the pioneer.
So let's say I've seen them all, and now I apply more nutritional technique and training technique more based on science instead of.
I was about to say, like the field of sports science, you were kind of like, well, you were in there before it kind of started to blossom. So
exactly. So most of my relatives are anyway got degree in mathematics and physics. Anyway, I was not really interested on traditional jobs. So when I joined science sport, because I wanted to know more. And my parents and my friends and my relatives actually said, you will never make a living with science sport. Nobody pays anybody to tell them what to do. You will be probably a normal physical education teacher in a school. I mean, watch me. And then, so I got the degree. I realized in Sardinia, I was a bit constricted. So I first moved to Rome and started to work in Virgin Active in a commercial gym. That was really interesting because for the first time I worked in an environment in a corporate environment with a uniform, and I was forced to do some courses about time management and hit the targets. It was a bit annoying, but at the same time, it was really, really useful. Yeah. So my advice eventually for who is starting today is actually start in a commercial gym, because you will do a lot of courses for free. They will teach you how to manage your diary. That for me is very relevant. I can still see top trainer, technically super gifted, but they don't manage their time very well. So they lose their clients, so they may eventually lose income. Eventually they change job. It's a shame. Yeah. And anyway, you can do a lot of free courses, from kettlebell to boxing, anything you want. Eventually from Virgin Active Italy, I felt again constricted even in Rome. It was not enough somehow. And so I wanted to move to London. I thought I never studied English. I always studied French, but it was another challenge for me.
Could you not speak any English when you came?
I could only count because I did only French. So I knew the number, but I didn't know. Yes.
I didn't know that. So you didn't do it at school, just wow.
So 12 years ago when I arrived in London, I didn't speak any English. I had a job in Virgin Active UK because as I work in Virgin Active Rome, and Holmes Place at the time bought a lot of clubs. Virgin Active UK bought a lot of Holmes Place clubs in England. Yeah. So they needed personal trainers. Eventually, my Italian regional manager asked the English regional manager if there was any job for me, and they sent me to London. Mm. And I still remember in the email they asked me in English, very long email in English, which city would you like to go? I answered London. Where about? Acton, Battersea, wherever. And I said, no, I want to go to London. And I added London City. Eventually, they sent me to the city in Moorgate, where it was quite relevant if you believe maybe in destiny or whatever, because in Moorgate also I met my a woman that became my wife. I met a lot of clients that would have be part of my career in mortgage. Yeah.
Interesting.
And for the first time, that was interesting because in Sardinia, mainly I was training football players from the youth Cagliari Calcio at some point, due to my kickboxing background. I was applying for the first time kickboxing technique to football. At the time, still in football in the 90s, early 90s, football players were trained like with long distance running. Even the sprinters in Italy were trained with just long distance running. Okay.
Old school.
So I had the chance to train the youth Cagliari Calcio. It was a good experience. But anyway, I was used to train guys who were earning enough money, quite good money. They were already motivated, but they didn't have family, children, or high demanding job on a chair. In Rome was a bit different. In Rome, I was training mainly dentists and certain busy professionals, but not at the level I found in mortgage. So in mortgage, for the first time, I'm not saying they were like Wall Street from the movies that I watch in, but for the first time, I found myself to deal with people who were staying at the desk for 12 or 14 hours, earning big money, but paying a price ultimately for that, right? 100%. Very inflexible hips, lower back problems. So my kickboxing strategies, I was still at the time a trainer focused on hard training, man. I would destroy my clients or myself training really hard. Somehow I was even probably still believing that you could overburn a bad diet at the time. Sure. While with my city boys, it's not possible with my city clients because they eat way more than what they burn. Yeah.
And drink.
So with them, I couldn't push too much because even a kettlebell swing sometimes was making them stay like unable to train for 1 week. I thought the technique was perfect because they had too many imbalances. They were not ready. So I had to work. I had to do a few steps back to review the way I was training my clients, to put even more effort on studying even more nutrition, because I was more prepared for professionals, but not for people who suffer of procrastinations, and they eventually also, I thought they are very driven. So they skip more likely training sessions just because they don't feel like, but then I realized why they don't feel like. Okay, we might talk about later, about my space. But anyway, because they have affordable cash and free food in the office, and they suffer also of maybe boredom, so like sugar cravings triggered by emotional eating. Yeah. Yep. So I had to invest time in to go back to study more nutrition and to develop new strategies to help them. Also psychological tools to help them. Yeah.
100%.
And also they had issues that I didn't face because they maybe had 2 or 3 children. So family on the way of the fitness schedule, especially weekends, and maybe lack of sleep due to social pressure while not going to the pub with a boss or with a client, because in England, more than in Italy, the pressure is about drinking together. In Italy, it's more about the family. When they sit all together, we eat forever. While in England, it's more about drinking. Let's go to drink something. In Italy, it's more, let's go to eat something. Yes. As you know better than me, liquid calories can really ruin you. And so city workers were drinking a lot. They were also justifying the fact, I think it's a kind of, how can I say? We get used to hear that you must drink with your clients. Actually, it's not true, because now I have a lot of clients about 45, 50, they make business without drinking much. So I think it's changing since I moved, not because I moved, but I saw a change in culture. It's not true that you must drink with the clients. People are over.
It's a bit more accepted now, isn't it? Probably that, like.
But at the time, I think also the personal trainer penetration, so how many city workers were using personal trainer in London, was way below New York and LA. Now it's pretty much the same. So London improved a lot at the city. Most of city workers now train anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so as you know, they were drinking a lot, eating too much sugar, and this was also affecting the quality of their sleep. As you know, a productive day starts the night before. So in the morning, they were already tired, sluggish, ready to stay for 12 more hours on the chair, and the circle starts again. Not feeling training, feeling like sugar, blah, blah, blah. And yes, so that was interesting because I had to specialize on a different type of clients, quite wealthy. So because our job at the end, certain trainers, I think, emphasize too much their career on teaching the perfect technique. And understand, I'm a kickboxing and boxing coach. I love when my clients learn. I love when they punch properly and the sound of a good punch, you know? And you see progressions. I love it. Or I love teaching a proper squat. But at the end, I do this job for money, to make, not just to make a living, but also to make money to sustain my dear ones. And also I want to become economically independent as soon as possible. I'd like not to work till I'm 80. So for me, it's always focused on how can I make good money while satisfying my passion, like helping people and teaching. I think a lot of trainers focus too much on the perfect technique, and they miss somehow to actually connect with the client and keeping the client and helping, eventually having referrals and expanding the business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I think what you're saying is actually, it's quite an interesting point, and I've seen this with a few other guys I've spoken to. It's about, like, you're trying to find that sweet spot where it's about optimizing their program, not being perfect, because obviously the training for them, and I guess getting in shape, it kind of comes as a second or third consideration after work, after family, doesn't it? So I guess what you've realized, like, by being hands-on, is that you're trying to fit yourself into that person's lifestyle. And I guess obviously you've done it on such a...
Absolutely, yes. Also because I have clients, you probably still remember. Now I have clients since I moved to London. I still have my first client for 12 years now, or I have others for 10. I'm not saying you need to keep your clients, actually not, because during my 12 years experience in London, I wanted to develop, as I told you, some psychology tools. So I joined the first level of life coaching course, but business focused, but I found it very useful to fix my personal issues I had with myself. And I improved the relationship with my partner, and with my friends, and with my relatives, because when you are more introspective and you understand why you behave in a certain way, even why you procrastinate, why you don't do the session you plan to do, why you eat in an emotional way, or why you react in a certain way for something that someone might tell you. At the end, I'm a filter. I do not care less what people say. If I react in a certain way, it's because I am the problem. Yeah. Anyway, and I really loved doing life coaching level 1, and I improved a lot my relationship with my clients. I think I communicate in a better way now, and understand their feelings because I understand more mine. And I'm telling you this, I don't remember what was the question?
No, we were just talking about the kind of, it was talking about it being that optimizing into their life.
Like how in years I have evolved as a person, I evolved as a professional. And now after 12 years, I have established business, and I'm happy in London. And I had to change anyway, again, because, these strange times, and the pandemic somehow forced me to move during the lockdown, all my business online, because income from one-to-one sessions disappeared overnight for 2 months, probably, at least. So I had to move all my sessions online, and now we are back into gyms and studios, but I still keep a few clients online. So it's as always, the obstacle is the way, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So every obstacle, is a way to try things that otherwise we would never try. And tell you, I was not really keen, never in years, to try online coaching. I was asked, but I never. COVID-19, that at the moment, maybe I shouldn't say, but at the moment for me, no person that I know been affected, honestly. So for me, at the moment, as a person, I know it might sound selfish, this pandemic didn't affect me much, but I know there are a lot of people who died, and they lost their dear ones. So it's actually a tragedy. But we need to do the best with what we have, no? And we need to overcome. And at the moment, my 2020 evolved in a way that I cannot say it has been negative so far, because I tried things that otherwise, without the lockdown, I would never ever try. So I was a bit bored probably the last year. So I was doing things that I was thinking, what's next, Jack? Not in a way that I want to always try something new, no. But you feel when you reach the stage in your career or your personal life where you think, I want to try something new, but I don't know what's next. So you start to put everything on paper, to craft dreams, to design things, with arrows. But I don't know, because I think the system for trainers was also quite rigid. You can work in a commercial gym, or you can work in a studio. Maybe some trainers was already doing online, but I believe it was mainly for nutrition or life coaching. I don't really believe many trainers were working trained online, because people also were not organized at home. During the lockdown, a lot of clients started to
buy the equipment and everything they need.
Buy equipment. That's why it was so expensive. 2 10-kilogram dumbbells at some point, I sold them for £96 sterling.
Like everywhere was sold out, right?
Yes. And now still have clients actually built a shed in their garden with a private gym inside, waiting for the second lockdown eventually, or for the future, they don't want to go to the gym, back to the gym. Anyway, so with this type of people who understand it's a first world problem, so they have affordable cash, but we're still training online.
Yeah.
But I think eventually we can train online also from a gym. I mean, it's changed everything. Clients who went on holiday in the past, they always send me photos about the menu at the restaurants. Jack, what do you advise? I love what I do. So I always been 24/7 on calls for people with clients traveling to Singapore or Sydney or New York or LA, right? But we never trained from holiday. Now everybody's saying, Jack, when I go on holiday now, we keep training. And that's when clients go on holiday, as a personal trainer who get paid per hour, we lose the slot. The business model, it's annoying, the business model that we normally follow, because if John that trains every Monday and Wednesday at 12:30, goes away for 3 weeks. Yes, I can book someone else, but realistically, I cannot pick another client to take that place permanently. Realistically, often I don't put anybody in that slot, right? Because it's occupied by. But realistically, if John now goes on holiday, I can still keep the same income or revenue. So clients who used to go on holiday for 2 weeks, we didn't earn any money for 2 weeks with them. Now we can keep going because they train in their hotel gyms. Anyway, this is an example. Not every trainer like that, but it's a new way of work that I never considered before.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to just like segue now a little bit into so it's kind of interesting hearing the story and kind of obviously coming from Italy, not understanding English, like huge respect. Like that's like, if I thought about the other way around, that would be like such a massive task in my head.
Necessity.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's kind of interesting then understanding that you were then faced with a completely different challenge from obviously what you'd grown up learning and kind of practicing in terms of kickboxing, etc., to then applying, looking at the problem that's in front of you, i.e. the customer, the client that you've got in front of you, and then basically breaking down what is it that this person really requires. And obviously you've done that hands-on and obviously perfected your system over, like you said, you've obviously been here for 12 years now. So that segues really nicely into so how did you end up kind of working with celebrities? Like what ended up kind of driving you down that?
It's interesting. At the time I was 2 years in Virginity Mortgage, 2 years on in Virginity Mortgage. I became full-time quite quick. Not because, again, I'm good technically, but I think because I put extra touch in my day. So after 3 days that I was going around the gym floor, not be able to speak English, I had only a dictionary in my pocket because the members of the gym, obviously when I moved from Virginity Italy to Virginity UK, as I couldn't speak English, I was, my contract was as a fitness professional. So I had to kind of do a step back. So from the ego perspective, I'm a personal trainer. I'm not a fitness professional, but I was so determined. I didn't know any English that, okay, I'm gonna earn 30,000 pounds per year. Yeah. I don't know for how long. That was enough only for a single bed in London and to buy food at Summerfield at the time with tomatoes that didn't taste of anything coming from Italy. Yeah. So it was really difficult. It was cold, dark, rainy. The food was tasteless, the food that I could afford, and the salary was just enough for my transport and my room. But I really wanted to do it. And so I was going around the gym as a fitness professional, correcting people, not even thinking about selling packages, because fitness professionals, in the commercial gyms are supposed to anyway selling packages and becoming full-time, eventually moving from a non-contract to freelancing, right? If you're not good enough, actually they fire you. That was the business model also at Virgin 12 years ago. I don't know now. Anyway, after 2 years, I became quite busy. I was full-time already because after 3 days, I got my first client. It was a guy from Iran who was speaking Spanish. And then because I've been kind with him, he asked me something about a machine. I showed him with a lot of passion, like it was a personal training session. Then I left. I even didn't try to sell because I was not even able to. I was using my body to show, to explain angles and stuff. And then obviously they were correcting me. So I was taking every single correction as gold because I never studied. So that was my school. And then I offer a lot of free boxing sessions. Using my body, I can show what to do. I can count with numbers. You can start. And then little things. And then every night when I was going food shopping, the cashier at Summerfield or anyway, Tesco was asking me every day something different. Well, I just wanted to pay and leave because I didn't know what they were asking me. So I was thinking, why they ask me things? But day after day, I started to realize, one night she asked me Tesco card. One night she asked me cashback. So the questions were always the same over and over again. So I started to divide the words because first you just hear a sound when you don't speak any language. It's just brr. But then your brain starts to separate. And then you start to wonder, what's the sound? What's the other sound? And day after day, you give a value or a meaning to every single sound. Eventually with the dictionary. And then it's a process. It has been good for my self-esteem because I studied French, but all my teachers said I was never really good with language. It's true. I'm very good with the numbers. I'm a mathematic mind. But the area in my brain about languages is not really developed. I met people who speak 5 languages, even without writing. They are just amazing. I have issues. I need to listen to the same word 7 times before memorizing. But if I see it written, I memorize it because I'm mathematics. So I need to I need to see the spelling. Anyway, so all my teachers I had in French, they always said I was useless because, my French was bad, blah, blah. But again, necessity pushed me. So I think after 12 years, my English is not great yet. It's okay to do what I do. Yeah. But now I know it's good for my self-esteem. If I go to Japan today, in 3 months, if I need it, because I don't have enough money, if I need to eat, if I need to drink water, I learn basics of Japanese. It is good for my self-esteem as an individual. I'm still rubbish with languages, but I'm not scared. Yeah. There is no fear. I can go everywhere in the world if I put a lot of effort. But again, the brain is conservative in terms of energy. So how strong do you really want or do you really need that? 100%. If I start to study Chinese here 30 minutes a week, I will never learn because there is no necessity.
Yeah. It's like a need, isn't it?
My brain is very conservative. If I don't see the point of something, I do not learn.
Definitely. And so obviously, so we talked a little bit about language. So
yes.
So going back to the point about how did you end up kind of getting into the celebrity training? Like what
yes, that's interesting because so at some point after 2 years, as you know, we moved to Ignite PT with the other. We opened Ignite PT, with the former owner that you know, and with other 3 trainers. Eventually, we became business partners with little percent. So at some point for a few years, I I've been involved in owning a studio in Mortgage. So from Virgin Active, I left, and let's say we opened a studio, right? I was one of the owners. And so next stage in my career, because that was interesting, clients who was going to Virgin Active, who at the time was one of the best gyms, while now is more Third Space or Equinox. So it lost a bit of, but at the time Virgin Active was good in London. But top clients, actors and producers were not going to commercial gyms because obviously maybe they are recognizable and they don't want to be seen, blah, blah. So I didn't know I was missing out a certain type of clients, but I was so happy to train city workers. At the time, I was still developing myself and new strategies that I didn't really think about training people from the movie in the movie industry, because I also didn't know it could be possible. But when I moved to a personal training studio, I started to have inquiries from type of clients who didn't want to join a commercial gym or didn't want to pay a monthly membership or 1 year in advance. They wanted flexibility. And this happened to be producers for advertising, music videos, eventually movies. Anyway, so a trader that I was training at the time asked me to train a friend who was the producer of the Coldplay at the time.
Wow.
I said, okay, so the transition happened naturally. And that's another tip maybe that I like to give without patronizing anybody, but because I receive a lot of questions from young trainers, like, Jack, how can I get there, or blah, blah. Another thing is do your best every day, because there is not a single day that I can say, that day changed my life. I started to train Mark Strong. Okay, there is not a single day. Even going around the first days in Virgin Active Mortgage, correcting people just to be kind, just to do my job, that even those days were important to build everything, right? To build my base of clients that made me also more relaxed, economically secure to keep going, right? So every single day, do your best, the best possible, everything that you can do in the best quality, be kind and do your best. Eventually, I tell you this because I don't know if you remember, you were not there when a dear colleague left. A dear colleague was training this trader, yeah? Do you know, when trainers leave, normally ask other trainers, would you like to train my clients? Because I need to leave, I need to change city or whatever. So I said yes. I started to train a guy who was a trader at the time. And that's another little step. If you're not good with your colleagues when they leave, they will never give you their clients, right? So another tips could be nice, no? Build strong relationship with everybody, not just with the members at the gym, but also with your colleagues. Many colleagues, Australians especially, New Zealanders, will leave at some point. And you will, if you have good relationship with them, and not in a fake way, you know, if you are nice with them, you probably get more clients. So it's a big chain of love and respect, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got this trader from a dear colleague who left. And this trader eventually, I did very, very well with him in a few months. He referred me to a friend who was, again, the producer of the Coldplay. So I started to train this producer. And at the time, this producer was also trying to move from music videos with Coldplay and to movies. He asked me, in case, would you like to train the actors that I will use? I mean, yes. So eventually, I started to work for the first movie was Welcome to the Punch, when I couldn't train James McAvoy or Mark Strong, referred by his producer. At the time, James McAvoy already had a personal trainer. You know, when you find a good personal trainer, you don't change, obviously. And while Mark didn't have any trainer at the time, he never did any gym work. He always only used to play football. So I met him and we started to train. We trained for Welcome to the Punch and then eventually other movies. We've been training now together for 8 or 9 years. And yeah, that's, again, going back to the original topic about developing yourself also in a way that you keep your clients and you avoid injuries. get a lot of jobs from the producers, because the producers are the key in my job. It's actually not training actors, it's training producers. Because actors, yeah, they might talk about you to other actors, but you know what? Unlikely you get an actor from an actor, because also, you know, you don't want to share your friends. Yeah, it becomes quite domestic, yes. But producers think about work. Yeah. So they want a trainer that they can help, yeah? And again, a trainer who has a good injuries, clean, yeah. Because you understand, if you have an actor just before shooting, or even while shooting, you drop a dumbbell on his face, or whatever, you do an exercise that, yes, maybe for you, it's for your ego, yes, that exercise is the best in the world for legs, but always wondering, yeah, but how much risk am I taking right now for the person first, for the actor first, because always focusing on the individual, and then for the movies, because they are paying me, eventually for my career. And sometimes not the ego of the person, like in every relationship, or even at work, clashes against the right thing to do. Yeah. So I always try, is this exercise the best I can do? Or I can do something else, considering that at the end of the day, we are not going to do a bodybuilding competition on the stage, right? Yes. You can edit, you can use lights. And also you need to prepare the actor sometimes not just to look good, but you need to prepare for, with the right stamina, with the right range of motion to do harness work, cable work, to be able to fly, but still acting, smiling, or being angry. Yes. So, yeah. So what I want to say is you can do the transition to the movie industry while starting in the city training a trader, because also you know, because the 6 degrees of separation theory, I think in the that we are all connected by no more than 6 people in the world, right? It's quite scary during COVID time, because between you and COVID there are no more than 5 people who know in a straight line, right? But anyway, I do believe the city of the financial district of London and downtown New York, eventually LA, probably Sydney, surely Singapore, Hong Kong, are connected by 3 degrees of separation, because all these people went to the same school together, they work in the same banks, okay? And most of the producers that I trained went to Cambridge or Oxford, or anyway. And London is quite, you know, central London at the end is quite small, they all know each other. So you can start, so I believe, maybe if I would have started in Acton or Angel, I would have reached this level as well, even without starting in Virgin Mortgage, doing every day the best possible I could, right? Put in effort and be kind with people, keep studying, keep developing myself.
Definitely.
Yes, everything is connected.
Definitely. And then, so we've kind of gone through, obviously, your transition, made it to the UK, worked your way through the system, got yourself up, started working with some producers, obviously got some like really high level actors, like obviously Mark Strong you mentioned, and some other ones that obviously we've kind of touched on. So then obviously now I know that you've kind of now branched out, your kind of next stage is the development of obviously your book and your training methodology. Do you want to just delve into a little bit about the training methodology? I know we're kind of coming up to about 40 minutes now, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but if just a bit of a delve into your training methodology would be great.
And I'm currently writing about my training method, which I call the Farci method. And the book you are talking to is Strong, which is available on Amazon. Yeah. The pun is intended because Mark Strong wrote that forward.
Okay.
So it's called Strong, is with the forward by Mark Strong. Yes, but it is not a book about training. I know it's confusing, Simon. It's a book about daily productivity. And I'm telling you, 3 years ago, when I started writing, I wanted to write a book about training and nutrition. And then eventually I realized it was too much. I realized I didn't know enough. In a humble way, I realized I didn't know enough, because I cannot know everything. Yeah. I'm a nobody to write the Bible of training and nutrition. And everything is being written already. Yeah, I'm now checking some bodybuilding techniques from the 70s. I'm just curious. They still work. Everything is being written and tried. It depends how you apply to your body,
system.
to the moment of your life also, because we evolve.
Yeah.
Because now I need a hip replacement. So all my training, it's next year I will have a hip replacement. So I cannot do certain things like a squat. I cannot roundhouse kick. So all my fighting system changed, all my training system changed. So I'm applying old school methods to my new problems anyway. And so this changed. I started, so the Bible of Training and Nutrition written by Giacomo Farci was impossible to write because I didn't know enough. And also everything has been written already. Every nutritional system has been tried. Yes, as you said, it depends on you, genetics and personality and situation. So I refocused. I thought, what do I actually like? And I like to understand why. First of all, I like how to improve my performance during the day, performance and productivity. Okay, how can I be more effective, time effective? Not to do more things in a bad way, but to have at the end energy left for my wife after a long day at work, or to avoid procrastinating. Why sometimes I have time to train, but I reject just thinking about warming up. I love training, but there are days that I cannot just handle just the thought of starting with a bit of stretching or a bit of running. And eventually I feel well, but that's not the point. Sometimes I procrastinate, I cancel sessions like my clients do. So now I can relate with them. Why they cancel sessions, I thought of despite they have the time. And why sometimes I don't eat a certain way. And why I waste time watching a YouTube video when I know I'm supposed to do something else. I know I'm doing, but still I do it. So procrastinate. So everything. So I refocused. I thought I want to write something that is I learned from myself, and I learned from my clients who are high performing individual in what they do, top bankers, top lawyers, top producers, but sometimes still are not accountable with their fitness or their nutrition. I wanted to know why they are so tough and driven at work, but they miss out while training. So I talked a lot to them. With them, I developed tools to help them. So Strong is a book about daily productivity. And it's about how to power your fitness schedule and diet in a more effective way, despite lack of time, because everybody.
I was going to say, what was the kind of main takeaway from what you found? Like basically,
the main takeaway is everything started probably with more procrastination, because I wanted to reduce the amount of sessions and my clients were canceling. Because yes, you can charge them all the time, but there is a point where if you keep charging them, they don't renew the package. Okay, so that was the first. I want to keep them accountable. How do I keep accountable myself? So I researched and realized a mind space of mental bandwidth. You can call it in many different ways, which is the amount of information that you keep stored in your brain, society. Yes, it's really important. When too much is in the head, we started to feel overwhelmed. And the first thought is, I don't have time for this. No matter what it is. I love cooking, Simon, but when I feel overwhelmed, so much is going on in my head, I don't want to cook. Well, time, it's I cut every single green the right way and proper, and I really love it. Same for training. I love training, but when too much is in my head, I don't want to do it. I don't have the time. No, it's not that you don't have the time. You don't have the mind space to do it.
Okay.
Yes. Same with your partner, intimacy, everything. When you don't have mind space, same for a quality of sleep. So the first chapter is about mind space, because I do believe that the amount of mind space that you manage to keep free during the day will ultimately make you more productive in everything.
100%.
Including your fitness schedule, so sticking with the training sessions that you booked or you decided to do, and your nutrition, and the meals that you planned or you would like to eat in a certain way. The second chapter was about routine, because all my clients are people of routine. I am a person of routine. So, because, when we always say put more effort, put more willpower to train harder or to eat better, but willpower is like a muscle that gets tired during the usage, during the day. The more willpower I use for nutrition or for training or for other things in my life, the weaker it gets. At the end of the day, it's very tired. You cannot use willpower for everything. So routine for me could be something very silly. Organize in the morning. The last thing I want to do is at 5 a.m. when I get up, is preparing my bag the clothes to go to work, because also the day is very long. I might forget something. I might forget shoes for training or anything. So everything is already set from the night before. But it's something silly. We already know, our probably always told us, prepare you clothes before going to go to school for the following day, because the following day, the last thing you want to do is thinking in the morning. It's too much. So routine reduce decision fatigue. So during my day, I try to take less decisions as possible for repetitive actions. So if I go to the Italian cafe Fazenda that you know, and they already know pretty much what I eat. They know I eat 2 or 3 different type of meals. Could be chicken with veg, fish with veg, or eggs with veg, whatever. Whatever they have at lunchtime, they give me. I never go there and I check the menu. Because when I go there, sometimes I send email, or I call a friend, or I call my wife, or I call my mom. I don't want to go there and be stressed about what do I eat today. They know what to do. Obviously, I invested a bit of time for a few days to make them understand what I need. I sit down, the plate arrives, I have the meal already that I want. That's just an example. It might sound OCD, but my day, which is very busy, is very busy, it goes very, very smooth. At the end of the day, I still have time and energy, and then I feel the time to engage with my dear ones, or just to relax, or maybe to have another telephone call with some person, I still have the mental space. And or if you go to the gym with a plan already written. I know something silly, but top trainers know what to do. I thought they wouldn't need to, because trainers know how to train, right? But still, I write my plan. I see it visually. I see it, and somehow I free space from my mind. I go there. I do my plan. Eventually, it's also easy to make a change. As you know, if the bench press is busy, as you know, you need to do that exercise, you can substitute it very quick with something else. If you keep everything in your mind, you waste seconds, and then what do I do instead of? It's cool because we are able to, we are trainers, but think about a person who doesn't have any experience training. Maybe instead of chest press, he ends up to do some lat machine or bench press or leg press, because they don't know also how to substitute. I think when you start writing, you free mind. Anyway, but it's about strategies also that I developed following maybe David Allen or other top expert in productivity.
No, it's really, really, really insightful. So you kind of got the bandwidth in the first chapter, productivity,
routine, how to reduce the decision fatigue. The more routines I use, the less tired at the end of the day I am. The more likely I stick with my meals and my fitness routine. I'm a trainer, but sometimes I fail when I don't apply certain strategies. And the third chapter is about quality sleep. As you know, it's one of the most important things, because a good day starts the night before. If you go to bed agitated and stressed, you fall asleep late, because it's not just the time you go to bed that is relevant, it's how quick you fall asleep. So there are strategies to fall asleep quick. Could be breathing technique, or keeping mind space free. If you go to bed think about problems, unlikely you will fall asleep. So it means it's 2 a.m. already, you're still returning in bed, and very, very likely the following day you wake up tired. And you know, when you wake up tired, the day is pretty much troubled. And the fourth chapter is about the second brain, which is the guts. So as you know, the health of your guts is really important. I started to study this because my partners started to develop allergies to dairy and gluten. So I was not really into allergies before. I thought myself, I have the favism, I have a genetic condition that a lot of Sardinians have. So I cannot eat legumes. I thought I love them. I cannot eat broad beans and fava beans, but mainly legumes. Every time I eat legumes, I feel really, really tired. You can discover this just if you do tests, or if you write a food diary or an energy diary, food and energy diary. You are very introspective and you try to understand and to link the fact that you had a certain type of food with your level. Yes. So if you eat dairy and then you feel really tired, or if you have episodes of diarrhea, you should think about that something is going on. Yeah. I don't know why, I discovered that every time I eat tuna, I have a big drop in my energy. I do believe somehow I became intolerant to the tuna cans. So I'm researching more what's inside the tuna cans. When I have fresh tuna, I'm okay. Every time I have a tuna from the can, I experience big fatigue and started to have some words in my mouth. I'm researching more. It's probably the material of the team, but this is obviously extreme, but I do believe the food affects the way you feel. Every person is different. But in general, anyway, if you have again, also routine is linked with your second brain, with your guts. Also, if you have elimination at the same time of the day, it helps to streamline your day.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the morning, as part of my routine, elimination, and I go. And the fifth chapter is about social events. We were briefly talking earlier. In my country, the problem is more about food. The food pushers could be your best auntie that makes a big cake and you don't want to eat it because you plan to start eating a certain way. I know a piece of cake doesn't ruin anything, but you get into anyway a cycle of sugar craving. Sometimes it's difficult. So in Italy, it's more about food pushers. In Great Britain, it's more about drink pusher. And sometimes myself, my friends and clients feel very awkward in certain situations where the food, or anyway, the drinks are served to you. And if we are tired in that moment because we use too much willpower with other things, I suffer from decision fatigue. Very likely, I reach the glass and start drinking. And very likely, I reach the little glass of tequila and start doing shots. And I don't remember how I came back home the following day. And for 3-4 days, pretty much I feel rough. I cannot train really well. And I'm a pretty fit person. When you are not fit, when you're struggling with your fitness routine, social events can really affect you. You attempt to get fit, to stay fit. So there are certain tools that I developed that I advise to use at social events. One, it could be a free one, could be the night saver, which is just a glass of water with a black straw, but you pretend it's some spirit with. So I go to the bar to order. I don't expect people to give me the glass because in that moment it's very difficult sometimes to say no. So if I don't want to drink one night, I go straight to the bar or the party. I get my night saver and I drink slowly. Eventually I can have a alcoholic drink, but I have one night saver in between one or two drinks. So I keep hydrated because hydration is the most important thing together with how fast you drink, right? Then there are people who process alcohol very, very well and they are in control. I don't process alcohol very well. So again, I took this from my personal struggle with ethanol. I'm a bit sensitive to ethanol. I become very, very sleepy, while other people completely forget how many drinks are drinking. I'm normally able to decide, okay, I go to that party, I will have 5 vodkas because in my opinion, spirits are better than beer or ciders, right? Because obviously they are filtered, they are more expensive, somehow they are better. I feel better the following day. So I will have 5 vodkas or 5 tequila. I'm able to count, but a lot of people forget how many drinks they had, and that's the problem. So a few strategies to keep in control social events. And then chapter 6 is about resistance to change. Many times at parties, especially I met new people and they told me, you are the friend of the host, blah, blah, of this person. I want to run the marathon this year. Last year, I was not able to, but this year I will succeed because I will try harder. And I know it's something that I shouldn't say during a party, but I love helping, right? So I say, how you will succeed just because you try harder? Did you identify all the factors that held you back the year before? Because it's not about you trying harder. I bet you are a person that is very driven. Normally at this party, I meet people quite driven, quite successful. But why they fail with just try harder? First of all, because we said that willpower fades with usage, right? And second, they identify the factors that stopped them before. Could be family dynamics, or could be genetics, right? Or could be injuries. It could be environmental factors. Maybe the gyms are too busy. So there are every attempt to change trigger resistance. The bigger the change we are trying to obtain, the bigger the resistance it will face. If we make little change, we face little resistance. For resistance, I mean physiological. Your body say, hey, I don't want to do this. Or could be environmental, could be even your partner. You didn't communicate properly. Look, I want to do this because it's important for me, blah, blah, blah. The partner might take it, why he or she's training, she or he never did before. Do you know what I mean? Why? So your partner will become a saboteur. So resistance that come from your family or from your dear ones are really powerful. So anyway, so different type of resistance. So my advice after explaining the process change trigger resistance, it's about making little change. And we know this, right? It's common sense. They will trigger little resistance that you can face every single day. But the most important thing is identify the factors that held you back in your previous attempt, probably for 20 years, to become bigger or to become smaller or to run the marathon. If you never made it, it's not because you have a problem. No, it's not a problem of willpower. I bet 100%. Because you reach top in what you do. So you're not a lazy person. You didn't identify the factors that held you back.
Interesting.
All right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And the last chapter is solutions to common problems, like pretty much.
Brilliant. That's so good. It's like such a... It is. It's interesting. It's comprehensive. It's kind of like, it's all the other things around like what you'd get. It's different from what you'd get in like the average kind of what people would consider a fitness.
I wanted to write a short book. It's 130 pages.
Yeah, wow. So it has...
This is a book written on people who don't have much time. It's written for people who don't have much time.
Definitely.
The last thing I wanted to write is something 1,000 pages. Who reads that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess it's simple solutions to basically to common problems that obviously people have.
Because and then every single chapter you might write a book. So I'm really happy when people that, especially that I don't know, that buys the strong from Amazon, they write a sweet message and they say, thank you. I started to research more about my quality sleep.
Definitely.
Or I started to research more about my guts health. I discovered I had leaky guts.
Definitely.
That's why I was not absorbing. That's why I was keeping eating protein. I was not getting any bigger. I had problem with my guts. Never thought about it. I was trying to train harder, but my guts were the problem because it's not just what we eat. Not better than me. You are with the nutrition. We are also what we absorb, right?
100%.
Every single chapter is the start of a new avenue, really.
Yeah, brilliant. That's so good. So we're going to look to probably wrap up because obviously we don't want to run over an hour. But if it's good. It's really good. It's really insightful to kind of understand that kind of journey, and obviously like you got some really you've worked with the top people in your field, and obviously your understanding is so deep.
Hey Simon, I work with top people in the field. I work with you. In my opinion, you are one of the best trainers I ever.
I don't know about that, but
I'm telling you because I
back in the day. But so if anybody wants to get hold of you, if anyone wants to find out more about you or connect with you, and basically if anyone wants to connect to you, what's the best place to get hold of you?
You can check my website, www.giacomofarci.com.
Okay.
Or you can
leave a link below, obviously.
Yes, thank you. Or the Instagram @Giacomo Farci. Reach out, please. I'm very happy to answer to any question about nutrition and training, quality of sleep, and daily productivity. I really like to talk to people and not don't talk to me if you don't pay me.
The daily productivity is really interesting.
Yes, because it's part of my daily purpose. Yeah, so reach out, please, if you need to.
100%. Guys, make sure you hit the like button if you've enjoyed today's episode, and obviously make sure you reach out to Giacomo if you've got any questions. Obviously, he's got a wealth of insights and wealth of knowledge around kind of obviously some of the topics that we discussed today. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that when we produce more content like this and we get Giacomo back on, you'll be able to get first dibs on that content. So Giacomo, really appreciate it.
You guys.
Take care, mate. Appreciate it.
Bye.